Okay, well, welcome. You've probably seen us or haven't seen us in a while. I'm Dana, and we've got Micah and H here with us, and we are really excited to share with you a new project. It's called the Coaching Exchange Mastermind, and we're going to be talking about that today. But for those of you who don't know us, I'm Dana Williams, and I have been coaching for about 10 years, and I have been on my own for about two and a half. And I have a company called Dana Williams Consulting, and I focus on leaders and coaches who want to make a difference, and I help them transform from the inside out. So I'm going to kick over to H and have him introduce himself, and then we'll go ahead and kick to Micah. One of the things I want to make sure that you guys do today on the call is that you feel free to write your questions in the chat, and we will answer them after we go through kind of what the coaching exchange is. And we want to answer as many of the questions as possible. So feel free to just write them in there for us. So H,
Thanks,
welcome.
Dana. I'm H. My first initial is what everybody calls me. Last name is Muir. I've been on my own 12 years. My business is called Lift Shop. So I coach brands, organizations, and leadership teams on leadership ideas through facilitation and training. That's what the Lift stands for. And I was coaching in business and corporations for, I don't know, almost 20 years before that. So yeah, Micah.
You've been doing this a while.
Yes.
I started at a very young age.
Apparently. Yeah, 2 or 3 years old. Hi, everybody. My name is Micah Lawrence. I am an ICF certified leadership coach and a Gallup certified strengths coach. I actually started my coaching business about 2 years ago. Actually, we're coming up on my 2-year anniversary in about 2 weeks. So we're getting right there. But I had been doing coaching for about 8 years total before that. So this is something that I had wanted to do for a few years in my corporate life, and finally pulled the trigger 2 years ago, and just have never looked back. But I work primarily with leaders in startups, and I do team development workshops with teams from startups to Fortune 500 companies. And one of the things that, just as we dive in to talk about the coaching exchange and this new mastermind that we're putting together, I wanted to share a couple of thoughts about, for one, why are we even doing this, and who are we targeting? Who do we feel like this is for, so that you can think about whether this is a good fit for you, or if this is something that maybe isn't the right fit for you. And then I'll hand it over to H, so H can share some thoughts too. Now, the why is actually pretty simple. Why we're doing this is there aren't a lot of resources available for coaches, and the resources that are out there tend to be limited in scope, or they're confusing. And so we understand as well as anybody the frustrations of starting a new coaching practice or starting a new coaching business. And Dana and H and I have spent the last 18 months or so together learning from one another and learning from other coaches what has worked and what hasn't worked. And we realized last month that this is something that we should be making available to other people, because what took us years to figure out, we could accelerate that process for other people. So because there hasn't been or isn't a really good playbook for how to start a coaching business, we thought we're going to do that ourselves. We're going to create a mastermind that addresses some of the things that we wish we had known when we launched our coaching practices, and we want to pass that on to you. This is the first time we'll have done a mastermind like this, so we want everybody to learn with us. And for those of you who are wondering, is this for me? The people that we have in mind that we think would benefit most from our knowledge are people who are even just thinking about doing this as a side hustle. You're not sure you want to go full-time on something like this yet, but you do want to experiment and think you might really love coaching as a full business, but maybe we start as a side hustle. This is definitely for new coaches. Maybe you recently started a coaching practice, or you're this close to pulling the trigger and you feel like you'd really like to go full-time as a coach. We have a lot to offer new coaches that we feel like would really be beneficial. We believe that leaders who are thinking about getting into coaching, because you do a lot of coaching maybe in your corporate job, and you want to extend that to be a new career or a next career. Maybe it's a second career for some of you who are considering retirement or moving on from one job, and you want to do something that you know you'll love as the second career. And then we also believe that some seasoned coaches who really love coaching, but maybe want some help on the business side of things would really benefit from joining this mastermind. And we would also love to have some seasoned coaches join us that can share some of your own experiences, and we can learn from one another. And the new coaches who join our mastermind can learn from you too. So that's the why and the who. I'm going to pass it off to H so he can talk a little bit more about the what. You're on mute, H.
So this mastermind, this coaching exchange, to build on what Micah said, one of the things we found when we got into this was, we lacked a community. We really wanted a community, and we've kind of created our own community. And that's one of the things that this mastermind will do for those that sign up for it, is create a community where you get insight from people who are in a similar stage as you. What our role is going to be is to really provide you content and guided discussion on 3 areas that we feel are really what we wanted when we were doing this, or in reflection we wish we'd had. One is on setting up your business and how to run a coaching business, and what all that entails. The other is actually the practice of coaching and engaging with your clients. What are best practices there? And sharing our learning and insight. And the last is a bit about strengths and assessments and how you leverage those with your coaching engagements. So we're looking to not just have best practice, share our learning and insight, share learning and insight we've got from other folks. We may even bring in coaches that we partner with, and provide you with tools for how you build your business, how you build your coaching practice, and how you leverage tools like strength finders or other assessments. And so that's kind of what we're looking to do. What we think is in this for you is, if you're thinking about doing starting a coaching practice, this should provide you the understanding in terms of what you need to get that coaching practice going. It should give you knowledge about how to do a coaching practice and how to run a business that is centered on coaching. This should develop your skills for coaching. And I think a couple things that we think the community really fosters is, one, accountability, right? So that you'll have exercises or things that you can do in between sessions, and you've got partners and people within that community that are going to ask you about those. So one, I think that kind of reinforces your commitment. And I think the last thing that we hope you take away from this engagement, this mastermind coaching exchange that we're offering, is really to give you confidence in how to develop and grow your coaching business. And so that's kind of what we think is in it for you. I'm going to turn over to Dana, and Dana's going to walk through really kind of the logistics and how this is all going to transpire.
Yeah. Thank you, H. And thank you, Micah. I think you both, I want to echo some of the things you said. And we are creating this for people like us that didn't have anything. And there were so many different classes out there, and they were all different prices. And so one of the things I want to reiterate today is we're bringing this in at a really good price. And now through this Friday, it's $149.99 is the cost. But you need to sign up and register by this Friday. We've put the link to the coaching exchange in the chat, so you can get that. Also the date. So we're going to start a week from this Thursday, March 9th, and we're going to go for 12 weeks. So we'll finish right around May 25th. And we'll be here with you guys weekly. I think, to echo what H was saying about community, this is a big piece of community. We're not only going to have the teaching, but we're going to have live Q&A. So I know in the masterminds I've been in, some of the best tools I get are during the Q&A, when people are vulnerable to ask, because not everybody will ask the question. And so we hope that you guys will even ask us some questions today. We're going to provide time for that. But we're going to be having 30 minutes of teaching and 30 minutes of Q&A. And as H said, we'll also have some action items, some challenges, some homework for you in between that time. And we'll have a way that you can connect with each other throughout the week and pop in and ask us questions, which I think is important. As I said, we're only going to be meeting for 1 hour. So 30 minutes of teaching, 30 minutes of Q&A, and it will be weekly. And then we're going to meet at 12 noon Central Time. So, and it's the same time every week. We're not changing the time. Um, the resources that you'll have is, of course, we talked about it's going to be a weekly mastermind, and we have a survey that we want everybody to fill out that registers, so that we know exactly what your hot points are and your needs are, so that as we are designing the coursework, that we are keeping those needs in mind. We're going to record the session. So if you happen to miss because you've already got something planned on that Thursday at noon Central Time, then feel free to just go back and listen to the recorded session in between. We're also going to have chat, which I mentioned, which I think is important because you're going to think of something during the week, or there might have been somebody you met on the call that you want to connect with. And we want that connection. The community is a high priority for us as we build this platform and we build this opportunity. And I think as we think about outcomes, you're going to just have, as H said, increased confidence, because you're going to be growing. And I'm in another group of female founders. And one of the things we found is most people don't have the confidence as entrepreneurs. And that's very common. So if that's you, don't worry about it. That's common. And this is going to help with that. So curious if there's any questions in the group. If you want to go ahead and post them, we can answer them. We're happy to do that.
Yeah. While we're waiting for people to post questions, I just would reiterate what you were saying is there will be intangible and tangible benefits of participating in a mastermind like this. And some of the intangibles, like even just meeting other people in your network, people that are trying to build their own coaching practice. And I can't tell you how invaluable it's been as a brand new coach when I've connected with other people who are at exactly the same stage as me and trying to build things. And we share. One thing I've loved about the coaching discipline is there's truly, with almost everybody I've interacted with, an abundance mindset. I have LinkedIn conversations going, messages behind the scenes, and sometimes comments back and forth with other coaches that you might think they're my competitors, and it doesn't feel like that at all. We are constantly sharing what's working for you. And even just the other day, I was sharing with someone, here are some of the speaking engagements I've been able to get. And somebody else was sharing with me, well, this is how I've gotten speaking engagements. And they were totally different. And we shared with one another, even though in other disciplines, you might see that as conflicting or competing. And it doesn't feel like that at all. And so gaining some of those intangibles, building your network with other like-minded coaches who are in similar place as you, but also on the other side, the tangibles include literally some physical and digital resources that we have used in our coaching practices to build our competency as coaches, to build our business as business people. Those resources we will share with you, and we are giving you access to us at as much or as little as you need it. When you have questions, we're going to give you challenges every week based on the topic that we learned about, and encourage you to complete those challenges within that next week before we meet again, so that you're making practical steps forward toward having the business that you want, or the coaching business that you want. So I'm starting to get really excited, if you can't tell. Like, this is something I wish I would, like, my energy is peaking.
I could tell.
Man, I wish we had this when I was starting my business 2 years ago.
Yeah. One other question that has come up, because we're talking about building community, we're talking about building this mastermind, we're talking about all this amazing content that we wish we had had. So somebody said, well, what happens afterwards? What happens after the 12 weeks? And bottom line, we're going to let the group decide that. We are going to wait and see how things are going. And if we would love to continue meeting afterwards, but this is a 12-week program. And then after that, and Cameron just asked, how long is the mastermind? It's 12 weeks. And so it's 12 weeks at the end of the mastermind. We will know well before that how we want to continue. And that's why we're in this new platform called Mighty Network, so that we can continue talking and see where it goes from there. So we're excited to have people join us. And we know even maybe you're not interested, but you might have a family member, friend, coworker who is just got laid off and they're ready for something new. They want to get into coaching. somebody who's interested would also be maybe somebody else that's coached for a while, but their business isn't growing and they need a boost. And I think the thing that we all three have in common is we've all been in corporate at different times and we've all done different things, but we all went into coaching. And so we all went it at different ways and have had different successes. And I think that's the story here. It's the collaboration. So I'm excited too, Micah.
Yeah. To go into a little more detail on Cameron's question too, we will meet every Thursday. So Dana mentioned this earlier. Every Thursday at we said noon Central, right?
Mm-hmm.
12 o'clock noon Central. Every Thursday starting March 9th, and we will end on Thursday, May 25th. So it's 12 weeks total for the full program.
And again, it's $149.99, which is half off of what our regular price is going to be if you register by this Friday
the 3rd, March 3rd.
Yeah. So
did you get any other questions, Dana, in your
I haven't seen
Q&A?
any others come up, but I would love to hear what's on your mind right now, H and Micah, as you were thinking about when you were starting your business, and who did you listen to? Where did you go? Because there's just so much out there and it's so cluttered.
It's funny. I was thinking about this as we're talking about it, and now in reflection, it's really interesting. You've heard of the 70-20-10 principle about development?
I don't know, but I've heard this.
Yeah, that's a big HR thing over the last couple of years.
It's a big HR thing, right? And I spent my career in a lot of learning and development and organizational development in HR. So 70-20-10, how people develop. 10% is content. You learn from books, taking a course, watching a TED talk, all of that, right? 20% is you learn from your community. You learn through networks. You learn by processing it, right? And then 70% happens on the job. And I think that is kind of what we're advocating and what we're facilitating with the mastermind. We're going to provide you content, which should be about 10% of what you focus on. We're providing a mastermind and a community. So there's that 20% between the three of us and the attendees. And then in between sessions, you'll be on the job applying it or learning, and you can come back to that community and also give us direction on what the content is. So it's really, I never thought of a mastermind as kind of facilitating the 70-20-10, but it does. And I think
that's a really good point.
And for those that don't know, He always has an acronym for everything. And we've got numbers. We've got a great
constructs.
You are going to love it. So,
So the thought that I had, Dana, when you asked that question relates to another question that Cameron just asked, which was what sort of background is necessary for a coach to be successful? And this relates to what I was thinking is when I went through an ICF accredited coaching program. So it took me about 6 or 7 months to complete before I went and sat for the ICF certification to get my ACC coaching certification. And I just remember of this whole program, we spent 95% of the time talking about coaching competencies, which we're still going to cover a lot of those coaching competencies in this mastermind. But we spent one class on building a business. And as I was listening to this facilitator, really this instructor, talk about how she had built her coaching business, I immediately heard her approach and thought, that's not how I want to do it. Is there no other way? And so it was like we talked about one way of building a coaching practice, and that was it. And one of the things that I feel like Dana and H and I have talked through our own experiences, there are many ways to be a successful coach. And your background, whatever it is, can become a part of how you provide value to your niche. So if you have very different experiences that led up to where you are today, we'll talk about what that might look like for you to niche down into the kind of audience that needs what you have to offer. So Cameron, I hope that helps, but we all, even just the three of us, approach our coaching businesses in very different ways. And the products that we create where we try to drive revenue are totally different, even just among the three of us. And when you kind of expand your perspective to think there are a lot of ways to eat a Reese's, if you remember those old commercials, there are many ways to eat a Reese's. It gives you a little bit more confidence, like whatever my background is, I can make this work because somebody is looking for what I have.
And I think it's knowing that passion you have to be a coach, to help others. And I think that's what the driver is your why. And I think I think about the three of us, I mean, H has extensive background in HR and marketing, and my background's in marketing and some HR and some operations, and Micah's is in
It's
strategic
technology and
planning.
strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great team because we bring kind of the collaboration brings all different experiences. And I think that's the one bit of advice I'd give to people thinking about being a coach is don't try to be somebody else, be you. Find out you. And we've talked about personal
We'll help
branding.
you with that.
Yeah. And that's what we can do. So it's a way to approach that we haven't seen anywhere for new coaches. So we're excited about it.
Yeah. To build on what Dana's saying, I think one of the things is leveraging our marketing expertise. So this is a bit of a teaser Cameron, we'll work with participants to help you create the brand. What's your value proposition? Who's your target audience? What are their needs? What is the asset that you bring, and what is the benefit of that in terms of your coaching practice? Because I think a lot of times we may know it intuitively, but there are tools from a branding standpoint that help you articulate it and capture it so that it just anchors all of your communications, and it really gives you clarity about the direction you want your coaching practice to take.
And H is full of these frameworks. Like we know a lot of these frameworks. H who's got them all. What's really nice about that is that each of us come with some of those frameworks that we've used in the past, and our experiences bring these tools with us. And so one of the benefits is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to come up with this stuff on your own. We will give you a starting point for those things.
Yeah. And I think the bottom line of all this is we want you to help build that confidence and grow. It's all about growth and helping you give you everything you need in your toolkit so you can be successful. So that's great.
It looks like Yvette asked a question about where is the link to register. In the comments, you'll see I don't know if it's an actual link, but it's the URL to the coaching exchange. Oh, she got it. Okay, cool. Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
So
there we go.
Go to thecoachingexchange.com. You can read a little bit more about what to expect, some of the things that we've talked about here in this LinkedIn Live today. And then there's the registration link right there. So do that by Friday, before Friday the 3rd, this Friday, and you'll get half off of our registration fee.
That's great. Well, thank you guys. Any last parting words you want to share with the group before we sign off, as they're thinking about this, or if they have a friend or a family member or coworker they think that might be interested in this? Any last thoughts? Let me see if there's any other questions.
Who's it not for?
Yeah, good point.
Good question.
Let me think. I don't know.
I would say as we talked about this, we've mentioned that more experienced coaches who have run a successful business for an extended period of time might find less value in something like this. I actually had a coach reach out to me, a fellow coach who's been running her own business for 4 or 5 years. And she's like, I'm really tempted to join. I really want to do this. And as we talked it through, we realized that because she's already established her practice and has good demand and paying customers, we realized that she might find herself mentoring other people and being more of a resource to the other participants than she would get out of it herself. So we still might have her join. Maybe we let her join for free or something, Dana, and test that out. But that was one person that I feel like really experienced coaches might find that the other people participating are at a different place than they are and may not get as much value.
And I think I just saw David. David, we're so excited you're joining us. And I know you mentioned Holly might join. And I think there are some coaches out there, and I've talked to them. They've been coaching maybe 3 years, 5 years, but they're just stuck. They're not making, they might be experienced coaches, but they're not getting the growth they want. And they can't figure out why they're stuck. So we're going to help you get unstuck for those people that have been coaching for a while. Or maybe they're trying to change their marketing strategy. Maybe they don't even have a network yet. They haven't been reaching out to the network. We're going to teach you how to do that.
Or I'd say even to energize and connect with like-minded people. I think that's, even if you've been coaching, right? And
doesn't matter.
Certainly this happened in our practice. where there are times where you just go, I want people that I want a thought partner that I can just talk to about the business and bounce ideas off of. And I think that's one of the things we're excited about facilitating.
Yeah. Thank you, David, for your kind words. He just said,
Mm-hmm.
That they're excited that we're doing this for colleagues, their other coaching colleagues out there. Because really, you come out of you go and sign up for a coaching program. And then, like you said, Micah, you go through it, but they don't tell you how to market yourself or how to build a network or how to grow your reach. And then,
you pay
or
good
how to
money
build your
for those
strategy.
programs.
Yeah.
Those things are expensive.
You're talking 50, 100,000 for some big masterminds that do that. And this isn't what this is. This is for the everyday person who's out there wanting to make a difference.
Need a spark, need a boost.
And needs a boost. Yeah.
Or wants to explore, right? They're thought about it.
Absolutely.
Like, this gives you a great opportunity to, I want to find out more about what it takes to be a coach and have a coaching practice. It's a fairly cost-effective way to explore that.
It really is. And with, we've been together, we started in Clubhouse, then we were on LinkedIn Live for 18 months. So we've been together. We had quite a following of people that love to just build that community. And we just want to continue that. We want to be that place you can come and say, oh, I'm going to bring that to the group and see if I can learn this, what I can learn this week. Because we're all learners and we all want to grow. And that's the bottom line. So great comments today. Thank you guys for participating. Is there anything else we didn't get to answer for anybody? We want to make sure we've answered all your questions. If you do have questions after this, feel free to reach out to myself, Micah, or H on LinkedIn. We can answer your answers there. And then also feel free to go to the coaching exchange and we will be there as well. So just want to thank you. Thank you, H. Thank you, Micah. I'm really, as David said on the call, he's really excited about this. We're really excited. And I hope you can tell that. It's exciting to build something that isn't in the marketplace that can help people. And we're genuine about this. So thank you. Thanks all.
Like Dana said, if you have any questions, please reach out to each of us or all of us on LinkedIn. And remember, this Friday is the deadline to get the 50% off registration. And we're getting started next Thursday, the 9th. So hopefully we'll see all of you there.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And please share this with your friends and other coaches or people that want to be a coach. We'd love to invite them in with you. All right. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. See you next week.